Hey guys, I got a brand new video for you today, and I just got back from a Fuji event where I got to try out the GFX and the X100F, and as well as the X-T20, and I also saw the new Graphite X Pro 2. But I kind of just want to make this video. It's not going to go over specs. I just got to test these cameras out, and I thought I'd share my experience with you because some of you may not have the same opportunity to go to a Fuji event and try one of these cameras out before you buy it. So let's start off with the X-T20. I actually didn't expect that camera to be that much smaller than the X-T2. It is the little brother to the X-T2, but I didn't expect it to be smaller, and when I picked it up I was kind of thrown off by that, and I don't know if that's something that you guys were expecting, but it wasn't something I expected. I knew that it was going to be smaller, but I just didn't expect the body to be that much smaller. They had the new XF50mm f2 on it, and I just took a couple shots just testing out the autofocus, and it seems to be pretty much as quick as the X-T2, so that's pretty awesome. I tried out the touchscreen on the back and it works pretty well. I never tried video. I wish I did. Now that I'm thinking about it, it would have been nice to see how the touch autofocus would have worked with the video, but it's probably pretty good. I didn't really try too many other settings on that camera, just basically took some snapshots. I didn't want to spend too much time with these cameras because there was a bunch of people there wanting to try them out, and they only had like one of each camera. So I tried that out. That's really all I want to talk about the X-T20. It's basically a small X-T2. So next I got to try out the X100F, and I was pretty excited to try this camera. I tried the silver one, and it looks amazing. The build quality feels amazing, and to follow along with all their continuity across all their cameras, all the back buttons are now moved over to the right-hand side. It has the joystick, and you can select your autofocus points that way. I tried the autofocus out on it, and it's pretty much the same as the X Pro 2 since the X Pro 2 has had the update to the autofocus. When I was talking to Jerry from the Fuji guys, he was saying that this is kind of where Fuji wanted the X100 line of cameras to end up. So this camera's kind of finally made it to where it's like fully refined, it's tight, it's tuned, it's working how they wanted it to, and I can agree it's a really nice camera. Kind of expensive for what it is, but I don't know. I think it's a pretty awesome camera, and I'm hopefully going to get one. I just got to save up a few more bucks, and then I can get one in for a review for you guys. So while I was kind of waiting for my turn in line to try out the GFX, I was kind of looking over some of the lenses they brought. They brought 3 of them with them, so they brought the 63mm, the 120mm, and then the 32 to 65 zoom lens. And they also brought a bunch of mock-ups of the other new lenses that are coming out, kind of like the 23mm, and they were just kind of like a test mock-up of what they're actually going to look like. They're all pretty big lenses, and I knew that the medium format sensor is really big. I just didn't expect the mount to be that big. And the back of the lens mount is actually really big, and I guess you kind of have to expect that to fit the sensor. The lenses feel really well built. They have really nice smooth manual focus rings. I think they were all kind of a rubbery feel to them, not metal like some of the XF lenses, but they're built just as nice as the FX lenses. And I tried out the 120mm, and it's a big honking lens. And it kind of feels like how the Canon 70-200 2.8 is built, that type of metal. They're really nice. They have nice weather sealing, and they're basically all metal, obviously, and I mean, you kind of expect them to be heavy because there's so much glass inside. But then when I finally got to try out the camera body, I held it in my hands for the first time. I was like, this just feels kind of like at home, like it's like a bigger X-T2 kind of. Obviously the button layout's not exactly the same, but the placement's similar, and using the camera and the menus and stuff is a lot like using the X-T2. And while I was playing with it, I noticed the autofocus was kind of slow because the camera only has contrast detection autofocus. I wanted to switch it into manual focus, and like I said, I felt at home with this camera, so I just took my left index finger to reach for the manual focus autofocus switch, and it wasn't on the camera, and I was like looking around, and I was like, where did it go? And I was looking all over the camera for it, and it's actually up near the top left-hand side near the EVF to switch it to manual focus, and then I was able to switch it into manual focus and get some shots. I think the biggest thing is the room I was in wasn't lit very well. It was kind of dim, and that could be why the autofocus was really slow, but this was the final production firmware on this camera, so don't expect it to be super fast. And it's a studio camera, so you don't really need that crazy fast autofocus anyway. So another thing I wanted to try was the swivel attachment for the EVF. They didn't have that with them, but I wanted to see how it came off. There's two little clips on each side, and you just slide the EVF back, and then you can clip on the swivel attachment and then put on the EVF. Would have been nice to have that there, but I didn't get to try that. And then lastly, I tried out the touchscreen because obviously the GFX has a touchscreen, and I was trying the touch autofocus, and it worked pretty well. It was a little slow, and I also noticed that the touch did not work in the menus, and that's kind of like the Nikon D500 where it works for touch autofocus and a few other settings in live view, but it doesn't actually work in the menus. And if they decide to update the camera with that, that'd be pretty nice, being able to just use it all from the touchscreen. But for now, just in live view for touch autofocus and getting through your settings like your 3D level and histogram and stuff like that. The camera's pretty heavy with the 120mm lens on it, but that's to be expected, and it'd probably be even heavier with the grip on it. But it feels really nice in the hands, and it just feels kind of like a DSLR, something like a Canon 5D Mark III, but it's a medium format camera, so that's really awesome. And yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you dislike this video, give it thumbs down twice, and I'll see you in the next one.